Thank you for joining me in this shorter video where I give a little bit of a tour of the state apartments at Versailles. I've definitely shown these off before in other videos. I've given a little bit of background on them in other videos, but I haven't just had a straightforward tour explaining what these rooms are. And if you ever do get to go to the Palace of Versailles, this is a tour that you would take. And I'm going to pull information directly from the official Versailles website to talk about these different rooms for the state apartments. The first one that we're going to look at here is the Hercules Salon. This was one of the last rooms added by Louis XIV, and at a certain point, this was actually where the chapel was for the palace. Next, from the Hercules room, we get to the Salon of Abundance. This was a smaller room that during the evening it would have refreshments, coffee, wines, liqueurs, and it was off of Louis XIV's collection room where he had rare objects to show off to people. Next was the Venus room. This room did not have a fireplace. It acted as kind of a vestibule before going down the rest of the king's apartments. We have over here the first of the proper rooms for Louis XIV. This was the Diana room. And here, sometimes there would be billiard games played, and people would watch the king. Next was the Mars room. This often had guards posted in it, and it was appropriate that it was named for the god of war. There used to be balconies up here flanking the fireplace. They've since been removed, but that's where musicians could be to play. Next was the Mercury room, which was originally intended to be the bedchamber for Louis XIV. I don't know if he just didn't like having it here, but next off of that was the Apollo room. This acted as a ceremonial throne room. Now, there isn't a throne that looks like this there today at Versailles. There actually never was one that looked exactly like that. There were a number of different thrones used. This was also connected to the king's private apartments by a small room off the side. And then from the Apollo room, we go into the Salon of War, which was to celebrate Louis XIV's military victories. And this was at one end of the Hall of Mirrors. The Hall of Mirrors wasn't part of even the original remodel of Versailles. There was a large veranda there. On the other side of the Hall of Mirrors, we have the King's Council Chamber, what became the King's state bedroom, which is in the heart of the palace, overlooking the marble court. And then the King's Antechamber, the Salon of the Bull's Eye. All of these just off of the Hall of Mirrors. I did try to make this Hall of Mirrors about the same size, the same dimensions as the real life one. At the other end is the Salon of Peace to celebrate peace brought by Louis XIV, for what that means. And then going down the other side of the palace, we have the Queen's State Apartments. I did make sure to make a little change here where off of the Queen's State Bedroom, there is the Meridian Room and then the Queen's Library, consistent with real life. Off of the Queen's Bedroom, we have here the Noble's Room. This is where the Queen could have formal audiences. It would act as an antechamber to the Queen's bedroom. Over here, we have the royal table antechamber. This is where public meals at the royal table could be taken by the king and the royal family. Here we have the Queen's guard room, which is still decorated in the Italianate marble style favored by Louis XIV, because as a guard room, it wasn't one that was often used by the queens. It was where guards were posted for protection. Here we have the Coronation Room. The Coronation Room is called that because the artwork on the walls is in celebration of Napoleon. There was at a certain point a chapel located here for the palace because there used to be apartments for princes. Those have been long removed, and the Gallery of Battles is in their place, showing off more of France's military history. I hope that you enjoyed this short video, this look into the state apartments of Versailles, and a little bit of a breakdown of what each one is. And please let me know what you think and check out my other videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.